we live in a 24/7 world, which means that we can really do anything at any time of the day. And I can buy a car at 3 in the morning online. I can go to school. I can be talking to people on the other side of the planet. I can do virtually anything that would have been contained within business hours just a generation ago. In other words, I can do my banking. And there used to be a saying about banking hours. They were very constrained. We had to stick to those as a population. So the 24/7 world, and it's a bragging thing actually. You'll see many businesses, 24/7 that you can contact us. And it means there's no natural pause. There's no natural place to stop. As opposed to the 24/6 world, which has basically been the case for the last couple thousand years, at least in Western society and all those societies touched by Christianity, where we stop for 24 hours out of the week and we refrain from work and commerce. So that's the change that's taken place. The consequences of living in a 24/7 world, I think, are fundamentally twofold. The first is that we have no restraint. And because we can do something, we do it. Folks today who have their phone beside their bed and they wake up for text at any time of day and night. And the second, and by the way, that's bad for our health. I can get into that. But I think probably the thing that I'm most concerned about is that we don't have time for God. And the one person in Scripture who introduces himself to God as busy is Satan. And that's in the book of Job. And he says, he's late for the meeting. And God says, where were you? And he said, I've been going to and fro, up and down the earth. Satan wants us to look like him. Jesus wants us to conform to his image. And his image is one of peace and rest and always making time for God and making time for other people too. So Sabbath comes from, the first Sabbath that shows up in Scripture is in Genesis 1. And God creates the universe, he speaks it into existence, and then he's creating the earth, and every day things are being more complicated that are being created, and God is saying it's good, and fish are swimming around, and it's good. And then on day 6, God creates us, humanity, and we're not just good, we're very good. And then on day 7, God ceases from his work, but he creates something before he ceases, and that is that he creates the Sabbath. If you look at it, it's actually a made thing. And then God rests from his work. And God is holy, and God rests, and therefore rest is holy, and rest in that setting is the Sabbath day. All the words that have to do with Sabbath, Shabbat, Shalom, Sabbath, Shakrit, I believe it is the word for quiet. They're all words. They're all, it's onomatopoeia. It's quiet. And so I think there's a quietness that does and should happen on a Sabbath. And that's where it came from. And interestingly, Sabbath is and holiness and Sabbath are synonymous, and the only word for Sabbath is holy in the book of Genesis. And then when God decides to make a people, as he brings Moses and these people who have been slaves for 400 years plus out of Egypt, the first thing that he teaches them is the Sabbath. Before he teaches them, thou shalt not kill even, he teaches them the Sabbath. He feeds them, and through that process of feeding them is even teaching them about Sabbath, because what is crucial for Sabbath is preparation. And God teaches that by every day they pick up manna, and if they try to pick up too much, it goes bad. But on the day before Sabbath, they pick up a double portion, and that's a symbol of the preparation for Sabbath. And today, absolutely, if somebody's going to be successful at having a Sabbath in their life, they have to prepare for it. Preparation is the key. There is, there's some things that get slung around about theology, usually by folks who haven't read the Bible too much. And one is that Jesus doesn't say or do anything about Sabbath. Nothing could be further from the truth. First of all, Christ is noted to observe the Sabbath throughout his life. He does a majority of his miracles on the Sabbath. Spread over 4 Gospels, he does 7 miracles. 7, of course, is the day of Sabbath. And those miracles are all of one kind. He isn't feeding 5,000, he's not walking across water on that day, he's healing people. And so I think there's really an element of him showing and acting out what the Sabbath is for, and that is to heal us. And I think a common cry almost of our society now is, I don't have enough time. I'm too busy. And so Christ is showing that balance between working and resting. He always allows for humanity to come above Sabbath. We're not to worship the Sabbath. And as Christ puts it, Sabbath was made for us. We weren't made for it.